You're listening to the Magicians Podcast. Informal interviews with the biggest names in magic.
And I'm your host, Richard Young. Down. I'm not sure what I think about that intro that I've made there. On reflection, I think it's possibly the worst thing I've ever made. But there we go, we're sort of stuck with it now. So, actually, I'll tell you what though, if you really don't like it, send me a couple of emails, and if there's enough bad feedback on the intro with the voiceover, I'll make a new one. So, it won't be completely new because I've already paid the voiceover girl. She was expensive, so I can't get her to re-record her bit because I haven't got the money. So, and the reason I haven't got the money is because this is free, and it's going to be free every week. That's my only promise. We have got a great episode lined up today. One of the real characters of magic agreed to be interviewed for this podcast. A brilliant close-up magician, a brilliant cabaret magician, and he's now moving into the world of stand-up comedy as well. Yeah, standing on a stage without any tricks. Can you believe it? He's probably one of the top 5 busiest close-up magicians in the country, and there's some really interesting reasons in this podcast when he explains why he thinks he's so in demand, and I really hope you're going to get something from this podcast and some tips which will help increase your business and your revenue. And of course, if you do make more money off the back of the Magician Podcast, we'll send some of it our way so we can afford a new voiceover. I started off by asking him how he got into this crazy business that we call magic. Before I cut to the interview, I should make a little apology actually to you. I stupidly left my mobile phone near my laptop, which was recording the interview. It wasn't near the microphone, but I didn't realise this. It's created a bit of interference, even though it was near the laptop and not the microphone. So there's a couple of points in this where you hear my mobile phone buzzing. I'm really sorry, it's annoying, but hopefully you will forgive me. Here he is then, Paul Martin.
I done magic as a kid. My dad had a friend called Harry Stanley who used to own Supreme Magic many years ago, and I watched my dad do a trick at Christmas, and I wanted to do it. So I started sort of learning magic, and I was very fortunate that Harry Stanley knew everybody in the magic business basically. So he used to give me loads of books, all the Di Vernon books, all the Supreme books, and take me to all the conventions, international, etc. when I was a kid. But in those days, sort of the close-up magic as we know it today wasn't really as popular. So I was kind of doing a sort of manipulation act. Thimbles, linking rings, zombie floating ball. A levitation I borrowed from Gil Leaney, who used to give Paul Daniels all his tricks. And I was doing that for a few years, and a few kids' parties. But then I sort of got a bit, and when I got to about 15, so my whole life was going to be, magician, David Copperfield-esque. Right. And then I got to about 15, and Alan Allen wanted me to work in his shop, and a few other people. And then I kind of just thought, you know what, I'm sort of getting into like scooters and girls and things like that, and having my blonde bouffanted hair wasn't really what I was after. So I kind of just stopped doing it for a bit. But obviously, as you know, you never give up. So that kind of put a stop to that side of magic. I couldn't really be myself. I was kind of hiding behind this magic, and I don't know if you've ever seen me do like a silent cabaret act. No. It doesn't work. Right. So yeah, I couldn't really be myself. So I stopped, and then.
Is that where this piano comes into it? The great thing about doing the podcasts in magicians' houses is you learn things about them. And in Paul's living room is a piano, and he's told me, I didn't know this, that he plays the piano, and you went to music college.
Yeah, I when I was 18, actually to backtrack a bit, I was going to be a blue coat.
Right.
And I got in, and then I got offered a job in a pub for £120 a week, which when he was as old as me was a lot of money when I was like 18. And I thought, oh, you know what, I might do the pub bit first. So I started working in a pub. And from that, we ended up buying a pub, my family, down in East Sussex. And we got a pianist in who came down and played. And I was sort of a bit anti it. I thought, oh, I really don't want that, you know. But he was brilliant. Like, and I just thought, my God, if I could learn the piano, I'm going to pull every girl in the world. So we became best mates and still mates today. And he taught me a load of, you know, songs on the piano. He then went to music college, Leeds College of Music, and said, why don't you come and do this? So I was like, what? You know, I'm not going to get in, am I? You know, and he was like, no, trust me, you know, you're good, you know. But I sounded really good, but I didn't really know what I was doing. Right. So anyway, I went for the interview and got in. And then from then on, I was pretty screwed because, you know, my sight reading was rubbish. So I'd done it for a year, but I had to practice a lot of classical to make my sort of technique a lot better. I was doing all sort of jazz standards. And my idea then was to just play the piano gig around the world.
Right.
You know, sleep with dancers. Female dancers, and just have fun, you know. But after a year, I ended up managing the restaurant opposite Leeds College of Music.
Okay.
And then went back into pubs, and I run pubs for like 12 years.
The family pub still? Or?
No, we sold the family pub, and I was a manager for Whitbreads.
Okay.
And sort of travelled around managing their rough pubs.
So at this point, the magic could just kind of, you were just doing it in
just
the pubs,
a hobby,
a bit of fun.
a little bit of fun. No shows at all.
Right. You dropped the silent act.
I dropped the silent act. It was resurrected once with a show that I'd done with Etienne, but we'll come to that later on. So then I was just doing a few card tricks, and I actually picked up one of the old Di Vernon books and learned Twisting the Aces.
Right.
And I was like amazed by it, you know. I'd never learned really anything from them. And It always took me a while to learn from books because I'm left-handed, so I was always having to convert everything into. Okay. You know, in my day there might have been a few videos just about starting out, but it was all books. So I sort of struggled with learning, but I persevered, learned this, and I thought, oh well, that's great. And then I just thought, do you know what? Sod it, I'll try and do some magic. So
by now you're nearly 30?
Yeah, 30.
So you came into this quite late then?
Yeah, as a full-time, as a close-up worker, yeah.
Okay.
Which, to be honest, I think was a good thing because, you know, if you run pubs for 12 years, you sort of know how to speak to people, you can deal with any situation.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the keys to being, you know, a good magician, to be honest, is all about personality. So I learnt about 5 or 6 tricks, went to a few conventions again, got back into it, bought a few DVDs, learnt some stuff, and then I just sort of approached loads of agents, got on with a couple, they gave me a few jobs, and I just went down really well, like straight away.
So this is when it was still really sort of agents and stuff.
Yeah,
more than
absolutely.
the internet is now.
Yeah, I mean there was no such thing as Google AdWords or anything like that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So it was just sort of doing.
I had a bad website made through a friend.
Right.
I probably wasn't long after that. I've still got the same promo pic, actually. But,
is that the one with you and Prince William?
No. This is the black and white one on my sort of business card.
Oh, right, okay.
So I started just doing a few gigs. I advertised in the Yellow Pages.
So at this point, you were still working in the pub as well?
No, I'd left that. I then at that point I set up my own business, the Wheelie Bin Cleaning Company.
Right, I'd heard this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That was when I was living with my my fiance, my ex, and who's now a newsreader for BBC News Breakfast.
Right.
And she wasn't really into wheelie bin cleaning.
Right.
And I had these big vans outside my house every day, filling up with water, and like 5 blokes turning up, going out to clean all the wheelie bins of Lewisham.
Yeah.
And so that was all going really well, and that was a very successful business. But you know, it wasn't my dream job. So I started doing magic. So I started doing a few gigs. I think my first year I probably turned over like $4,500 or something, you know.
Yeah.
And then basically from every year on from that, it just sort of started doubling or sort of going up and up and up and up until, you know, I just kept getting rebooked. Every time I'd done a gig, I got rebooked.
Yeah.
And it just took off. So, and I sold my bin cleaning company, which it was all a bit, I can't really go into details of that, but it was a sort of cash deal.
Yeah, says enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then just went full time doing magic.
And you've got quite a good relationship with a few other magicians.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jamie Raven,
Yeah.
Etienne, you've already mentioned.
Yeah.
Lee Hathaway.
Yeah, I mean, I met Etienne first. I met Etienne at a magic convention years and years ago, probably, I don't know, 13 years ago or something. And he done that trick where he blows up a balloon and try, a bottle production.
Yeah.
And he can't do it, so he puts the balloon behind the table, stamps on the balloon, and picks up a bottle of wine. And I just really loved that sort of concept, and I thought it was brilliant. So I said to him afterwards, I said, "Oh mate, that was brilliant. I love that." And he was like, "Yeah, man, yeah, great, man." I said, "Do you want a drink?" So obviously he said yes. So we had a few drinks, and then we sort of slowly became mates. I sent him, he said, "Oh yeah, you look really good, man. Do you do magic? I'll give you a job." Which, I know he says to a lot of people. And
he said it to me once. I never got a job.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it took me a year. So I sent him like my promo DVD I had at the time. And like a year later he called me and said, "Oh, I've got a job for you, man." So I was like, great. And then we just became, we were like best mates. So I actually went exclusive with Etienne. And I worked with, just exclusively with him. And he taught me, so much, magic. I owe a lot to Etienne. Good friend.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And so that was mainly sort of corporate gigs and things like that?
Corporate gigs, private parties,
yeah,
weddings.
And so your act is it fair to say your act is fairly similar to Etienne's because he taught you so much, or?
I guess at the beginning I would have said yeah, it was. I mean, there was a few. I always done a few different tricks, but Etienne knew the strength of some, like with table magic, for instance. Bill switch, ring flight, bottle through table. And because Etienne was booking me all the time, predominantly when he was booked, all his clients were like, "Do you do that bottle through table?"
Yeah.
So obviously, I said to him, like, "Look, I better learn this bottle through table."
Yeah.
And so, yeah, in that respect, I still do that. It's still my basic table set is multiple bill switch, ring flight routine and bottle through table.
Yeah.
And I would say my walk around's completely different to Etienne, but that is still, there are three great tricks that you can do quick, people love, lots of laughter in there,
yeah,
and amazing, So I mean, I do my bottle through table slightly different to Etienne's, but from him I learned a hell of a lot.
But going back to the pubs,
Yeah.
your skills that you learnt there talking to punters,
Yeah.
and I've never seen you work, but I've heard a lot about it,
yeah.
and it's a lot of kind of,
It's appalling.
well, it's the banter, is
Yeah,
what
it
people
is.
say is so good about you. And so
Yeah.
do you really, I'm always find it's interesting, some magicians really rely on the tricks,
Yeah.
but when you approach a group, is it more conversational?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't approach a group. I don't think about my tricks. I mean, all my tricks I do are good. They're all good tricks. I'm like everyone else. I buy hundreds of tricks. Got loads sitting upstairs. I still buy them now. I see something come out. I look at it. I think, and then I think, well, is it better than what I'm doing now? And yeah, some of them are. If you want to take the time and carry loads of bits and bobs with you, but the tricks I do well. I've got loads of gags for them. They suit me. I've kind of grown into those tricks. So I think it's good to know your repertoire and be happy with that. And then from that, the conversation comes. I mean, when I walk up to a group, I'm a bit touchy-feely. I'm very matey. I apologise. I don't like to say, "Oh, sorry about this. I want to show you a trick." But I'm straight in there. "Hi guys, how's it going? I'm Paul, your magician. Just going to show you a quick trick." And if they're talking in the middle, I say, "Oh yeah, hi, just how's it going?" Just I'm just normal, and you know what people are like. They don't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as they see a trick, a good trick, they're like, "Bloody hell, hang on, mate, this bloke's all right." And then from that, I'm having a real laugh with them, and I mean a real laugh. They for 5 minutes they laugh and enjoy themselves and don't want me to go.
So one of the biggest reasons I'm here
Yeah.
is that I heard on the grapevine a long time ago that, as well as obviously being a magician, you were really close once to having your own TV series.
Yeah.
And so I really want to know the story of that, if you wouldn't mind sharing how it came about.
Yeah, God, it was a long time ago.
And why it didn't happen as well.
Yeah. Well, like many TV series, they just don't come off. But this particular one was through my friend who taught me the piano. Actually, he's friends with a production company, and we all met up. And the guy who owned the production company really loved me, and I used to have a nickname, Dodgy Paul.
Yeah.
And
Why'd you get that name?
Which I'm not sure if Lee Warren gave me that or not. I don't think he did. I must have. No, it wasn't. It was because of this TV thing. Yeah, but Lee still refers to me as Dodgy. Dodgy, how are you, darling? But yeah, so basically, I'm a bit. Although I don't like it, I am a bit of a Jack the Lad. I've sort of done lots of things. Cut. I've done nothing bad, but I've always, I've sold cars. I've always done things to make money. If I see something that needs doing, like my neighbour wanted a fence, so I said, I have a fence company. I'll do that, and then I get some people in who, and they put the fence up. we then had to get some professionals in to put it right, but I made a few £100. Another friend once I met at a party said, I want to get my loft done. I said, well, I actually have a loft conversion company.
Right.
Yeah, get the quote and then let me know, and I'll beat that quote, which I did, and we done at someone's loft.
Right.
Got some builders over from Ireland and stuff, and it was quite hard work actually. I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. That was very.
So where does all that come from though? The dodgy,
I don't know really. I suppose years of working in pubs. I mean, you're always buying and selling stuff.
Always people offering you stuff.
Yeah,
for sale,
and just I like the idea of if you can give someone what they want, give it to them.
And make a few quid on
predominantly make a few quid on top, yeah. So I've always been a bit like that. And then, so this guy was hearing all these old stories about me, and he said, oh my God, he just loved me, and so he said, oh, let's, well, the concept of the TV programme was that you see all these scams, you get these emails, pyramid selling, all these things. The original idea was, do any of them actually work? And if you got enough people together, could you all make money? So we looked at lots of these sort of ideas, and that was going to be the premise of the programme. So each week we'd do a scam. Not a scam, but, one of these pyramid selling things, or could everyone give everyone £1, and then you all make money, every concept you could think of, and just to find if anyone worked. I mean, at one point I had a premium rate phone line betting horse racing tipster service.
Oh, when people ring up and you've got the tips.
PR racing. Yeah. That was good. That worked. But and another time I went into a guy I got marketing for me for my cleaning company. He was a real horse racing nut, and he'd worked out this system where basically you bet 5% of your stake money, and over a long period of time, and you there was someone in the Racing Post used to give these tips, Price-Wise it was called, and they're always big odds. And he analysed it for like 10 years and worked out that you would win money by following his tips. So we set up this other service, and I got everyone to put in 500 quid. and the second race we done, it was a 40-1 shot winner. So everyone was like, Christ, this is brilliant. And then we had a losing streak of about 50 horses on the trot, and which was unheard of course. And then the guy ran off with the last bit of money. So that didn't go down too well. But if you're not in it, you don't win it, do you?
Is that why you live right near Ascot Racecourse?
Yeah, no, I purely moved here because Jamie was here, basically.
Yeah, Jamie lives 2 doors away.
Yeah, next door.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I bet you've had some parties here. That's good. So after. So what happened with
with Dodgy
series?
Paul? Yeah, so we filmed a pilot. I went out. I mean, one of the things we've done, I wondered how easy it is, how much money you make if you're begging. So I'd put an old coat on and just sit in Notting Hill begging, and then take my coat off and go and buy a glass of champagne in the pub, and all little things like this, And it was good.
How much did you make?
On that first day, I think we done that. I in the space of about an hour, I made about 40 quid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I kept. But and then we shot a few other bits, and then it was just a case, he then took it to TV companies and nothing come of it. But that's where I got the nickname Dodgy Paul.
So there was no magic in this, really.
No magic at all.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But one of the tricks was the 3-card trick. Obviously, and I think that was one of the things we were going to explain or expose, but we never got to that stage.
That's a shame.
Yeah. And then we've had, with Magic, I mean, we've probably had about 4 TV shows nearly come off with me, Jamie, Magic Singh, Dave Bonsall. We were really, really close. But the trouble with TV, they listen to your idea and then they pinch it.
Right, I see.
Which has happened.
So these were like close-up shows?
Yeah, if you're like, 4 guys going out having a laugh, that kind of thing.
Yeah, never seen that before. Yeah.
No, it's amazing, isn't it? It's such a genius idea.
Brilliant.
Or the unsuspecting public, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Absolutely. So now you're a working pro, and sort of again, you work now. So it's actually a company called A Magic Place.
Yeah, right? I mean, obviously, I own A Magic Place with Jamie. I set that up with Jamie, but that A Magic Place came about because me and Jamie were so. I mean, I met Jamie. I don't know, about probably 8-9 years ago, and we were very similar in style. He's slightly posher than me, and obviously a little bit younger.
Right.
I'm hesitant to say slightly better looking, but that's an age thing. And we got on great, we were working at a gig together and just had a real laugh. And so we became mates. And as you know, you just sort of share your gigs around with your mates. Yeah. Jamie was really busy, I was really busy. And from that we were too busy basically, so we started having to give out other jobs. So then we thought, well, look, we'll set up an agency and do it that way, which is how A Magic Place originally started. And from that, it's grown into a proper agency. And now it's even going down another route. Lee Hathaway's now a director, but we only really want people who are good, fun magicians.
Right.
Hence,
and what sort of things you go after? Is it mainly corporates or weddings or?
No, it's only corporate.
Only corporate.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we do corporate training days, like fun magic days. We're branching out now into a much bit wider field of talks, and we're teaming up. Ian Rowland's come on board, and we're teaming up with him because we have so many contacts. I mean, we've got between us, Magic. We've got so many clients. It's an untapped business.
Right.
So I mean, we've just done one for UBS. Which is a talk on I don't want to go into too much detail because everyone might nick the idea, but we do lots of different talks for business strategies, presenting, confidence building, and now we've teamed up with Ian. We've got some really exciting stuff, and so we're really going to push that and take A Magic Place down that route, as well as keeping doing the magic.
So can I ask, obviously 5-6 years ago, everything crashed in this country financially. Was the business affected, obviously, because it's a corporate entertainment training thing?
Yeah. It was the only thing that affected me was I had about 6 jobs booked in with Lehman Brothers. And I believe that was probably through Etienne, because that was obviously one of his clients. And that sort of, that was around December time. So I was like, oh God, so I lost, a few days work there, but that was all.
Yeah.
But I've always been very fortunate. I've always been busy. And I'm pretty sure that comes down to just having a laugh with everyone. Yeah,
absolutely. So more recently, you've been moving into stand-up comedy.
Yes.
So how did this all come about? And
that just come about because cabaret is my real, in Magic. I love close-up. And a lot of the guys listening to this, we do some great fun close-up gigs where you really make a difference, and then you do some that are, hundreds of tables and you don't really want to be there. And you always have to remind yourself, I think, well, hang on, look, we are here. I've got to work for 2 hours, if that.
Yeah.
And, you get really well paid for it. So I just, I wanted to do more cabaret because I think that, plus the older you get, you don't want to, I don't want to be like the dirty old man at an 18th birthday party.
Right, I see.
And I am a dirty old man at a lot of 18th birthday parties. So I thought, well, and I enjoy the cabaret side of things, and I do a hell of a lot in Norway, working over there with John Inser, and every gig I do there is a cabaret. So, 90%. So I started doing more and more cabarets, got more into that, and it's like I want to have the perfect cabaret, so we've been changing it. I mean, me and Jamie wrote our cabaret that we both do a very similar cabaret. But we wrote that together, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. And over that period of time, it's changed drastically. And I still change it all now. because I just want that perfect 20, 30 minutes of very funny, great magic, that is very entertaining.
Fits in your boot.
Yeah, I mean, if I showed you my cabaret case, it's tiny. It's about as big as those books put together, in a pad of paper.
Yeah.
That's it. Because I travel so much.
Yeah.
I used to cart loads of stuff about,
When you were doing the silent act.
Well, no, when I was doing the silent act, I did that, but mine was in my dad's car, wasn't it? So it didn't really matter. But now, I try to take as little as possible. Pack small, play big.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
So the route into comedy, how's that sort of come about?
That just came about it's one of those things I've always wanted to do.
It's brave.
Yeah, and people have always said, "Oh, you should do that. You'd be great at that." But the thing is, it's really different being funny with your mates than getting up on stage and being funny. And I'm only learning comedy now. I mean, I'm still in very baby steps with it. And then my ex-girlfriend. I've had a lot of girlfriends.
Right, have you?
My ex one, the one before last. She bought me a comedy course for a present, and I was like, oh my god, that's like the best present anyone could buy me. So I started doing it, and then I was like just flat out with magic. So
how long was the course?
It was only 8 weeks.
Right.
But I was just too busy, so I sort of didn't go. And then I thought, right. So I said, look, can I do it again? So they were like, yeah, okay. So I went and I thought, right, I'm going to lose money. I'm going to do this course. And I done it and done the showcase, which went great. Really enjoyed it. Saying that, I've never been so nervous in all my life as that first ever.
You feel naked?
Oh my God, it was like, you hide behind magic. Even if we just got up and done a few tricks, none of the jokes worked, no one laughed. The tricks are still good, they're still going to enjoy them.
Yeah.
But with writing comedy, it's bloody hard. So I just thought back about all my old funny stories, all my, exploits I've got up to, and sort of come up with things. And people find it funny. But it's infant stages,
You're still doing them.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Because you did the first one was about 2 months ago.
First one was probably 3 or 4 months ago, and I've done about 8. The trouble is, I've been lucky because I've had a couple of charity gigs that I've done, which is like, 100, 200 people just doing stand-up. They're all normal people. They're not comedy-going people,
Right.
And they're all great. When you do an open mic night, it's very different because it's basically an audience of starting out comedians and a few professionals who are testing out new material. And those I've struggled with. It's just the concepts of it I don't really like, but it's something you have to do. It's all really, really good experience.
So how much material have you written so far?
I've got about 15 minutes worth and like 5 minutes. It's important to have a tight 5, as they say.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I've now got a really good 7 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah.
And loads of other stuff I've written that still needs tweaking and working out.
So is there a plan for you though? Is that something you do want to possibly?
I would do it. The problem is with it is there's no money in it.
Right. Okay.
And obviously there is at the very top, but there's hundreds of brilliant comedians out there who travel the country doing gigs, for peanuts really. And even when you're top of the game, at the Comedy Store, I think headline act is like you do 2 slots and you get £250 a slot.
Right.
And that's at the Comedy Store,
Yeah.
But saying that, I love doing it. And I always, I believe, I always want to challenge myself. I want to learn the piano, I learn the piano. I want to do stand-up comedy. I will do stand-up comedy,
Yeah.
I will have a really good 20 minutes that I'll be able to... And I will do it. I will lose money doing it. I won't, because I'll be giving out jobs to like Lee Hathaway and taking a massive commission.
That's pretty normal, 25%, isn't it? Yeah.
To him, yeah.
So I'm always fascinated by sort of people in the magic business who've been in it for a little while.
Yeah.
Have you got an exit strategy? Have you got a thought process of where the end game is, or a goal you're going for, or just a retirement plan almost?
Well, I'm kind of, because I've changed my careers so often, let's say, since I was a kid, and coming into magic, like you say, quite late, I haven't really. And all I'm planning on doing now is enjoying what I do, that's where the comedy comes in. I mean, I still love magic. I still enjoy doing that. But I want to do more and more cabaret, so I'll work on that a bit. There's also more money in that.
Yeah.
And keep going for as long as I can, really. I mean, yeah, it would be great if I could, end up being a world famous comedian, or I mean, it'd be wonderful. But I'm very realistic. I know how good. I'm in awe of anyone who's good at their job. So whether that be a magician, whether that be a comedian, a doctor, whoever you like, I strive to be the best I can in what I do.
Yeah.
Unbelievably. Some people might not agree with that, but trust me, it's true.
So this is what's really interesting, though, is you mentioned earlier you've been working in Norway.
Yeah.
So what's that like when you take your stuff over here, which is, from what you've explained tonight, is based on humour from British pubs where you used to work?
Well,
when you take it over there, does it still work?
Well, I wouldn't say from the humour I learned from pubs was more about just understanding people, and being able to talk to people at any level.
Right.
So, whether it's a drunk at the bar or high society people, I mean, God knows how many gigs we've all done, but I mean, we're talking thousands and thousands, aren't we? And you as we all do, we meet all walks of life. And I think it's really important that you can fit in with each of those genres, those people, whether it be a gypsy wedding, which you don't really want to be at, or, a really lovely gig in Mayfair, so... with Norway, they're just lovely people, they just want to have fun. And I was very fortunate, again, through Etienne, actually, he introduced me to John Inser. We got on really great. I'd done a few gigs over there, and then the agencies over there were like saying, right, we want to use Paul, and John, kindly uses me a lot, and I go down really well over there, and they all want me over there, so yeah. I keep on going.
So I'll put you on the spot a little bit. Obviously, you're years of experience working at events and bits and pieces. Any sort of particularly disastrous ones for you, or?
Oh, I've got loads.
Or... Well, we've got no time limit, so and I can edit it down. Anything that sort of springs to mind?
I remember the first time I done a Sponge Ding Dong. Not the first time I done a Sponge Ding Dong, but I do that, but I have a certain way of doing it. And I think it's quite important if you're going to do a trick like that you understand people very well. Now if I'm going to perform that trick, I generally say, now, do you want to see a clean one or a rude one? And it's generally after I've been around the tables, or they've already met me, they know what I'm like, they've had a laugh, etc., etc. And I think that if you say, do you want to see a clean one or a rude one, everyone says a rude one. So then you can do that. And I have an added bonus with my one that no one else can have with a very tiny ding dong. Which makes it even funnier. It actually distracts from the fact that it's a big sponge knob. Yeah.
Right.
And one time when I'd done that years and years ago, it was in an Indian restaurant. Someone had hired this Indian restaurant for a 40th or 50th, whatever. And I walked up to two couples and done that, and they really were offended. And there was only like 30 people at the party. So those 4 people, and that was in reception drinks, so those 4 people for the rest of the night didn't really want to see me or talk to me. But you learn from that, you learn from that. So I thought, well, I won't do that as as one of my first tricks I do on people. But I've got loads. I mean, there's loads. I've done a gig for the Football Association at the House of Lords Cabaret, and I can just see if Etienne's listening to this, he'll be laughing his head off. He got me the gig, but I ended up drinking too much. I waited hours, it was delayed and delayed and delayed. I hadn't eaten all day, and started doing this gig. And the first sort of 10 minutes went great, and then the mic didn't work, that packed up, so I was kind of shouting, and then I done Magic Square and it didn't add up to the right number. And from then on, it was all a little bit downhill, and to the point where the sort of booker went, get off.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that afterwards?
Well, badly,
right.
Because you've fucked up basically.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was my fault. I mean, it's quite a few factors I think with cabaret. The layout of the room was wrong.
Oh, yeah.
The mic didn't work. It was basically two tables going all the way back, so like a really long table, and And I was a bit drunk, so which didn't help. And so obviously, but we're going back years, when and I don't drink if I'm doing a cabaret. I might have an odd glass of wine at a gig, but I never really drink at gigs now because I drive everywhere,
Yeah.
So you learn your lesson there. Don't do that.
And so, what about at gigs? Obviously, you like the ladies.
I've met a few women at gigs.
You met a few women at gigs. Yeah. How does that happen? I could do some tips.
Yeah. Well, they just there's no yeah, it's just pure luck, really. Right. I mean, I was at a wedding actually in Cooling Castle, and I've got the usual thing on my mate really likes you. I don't get this so often nowadays. This is a few years ago. And then I said, oh, Lord Christ, which one? And she pointed to this girl who was gorgeous. And I was like, really? Nearly spat on her. And so, I stayed the night with her. Had a great night. Yeah, went out with her for a bit. Then she, obviously realised I was a bit hard work.
Brilliant.
And but I've met quite a few girls at gigs. I mean, I've got a trick I do, which is a phone number gag, where I simply say, after I've done some mind reading or magic or whatever, I say, look, let's try this. Normally, when there's a big group of people, I say, write down your phone number on that card. Don't show me. And then I'm going to try and guess it. So obviously, then I write down. They hold on to the card. I write down 07. Show them that. Ha ha. Not very funny. Then I write down my phone number on, and I do this on the back of a playing card. So then I swap the cards and I say, "Is that your number?" They go, "No." I say, "That's mine. I'll have yours. Thanks so much." And all the guys love it. And that has worked. I have had text messages afterwards going, "Oh, you're amazing." I'm like, "Oh, well, let's meet up for coffee." And they go, "Oh God, that'd be great." But we should, as everyone says, like every gig you're at, oh my God, women must love you, and we know that's not true. They do, but then when it comes down to going out with a magician, I mean, I'd done internet dating, when I put down magician, nothing. Right. Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
I won't even tell you what I put down on my thing, but I mean. And it's very unsociable hours, isn't it? So I've done all right with girlfriends.
So what about with the group of guys? Obviously, you talked about Etienne, Lee, Jamie. Obviously, and you do obviously the way your company is. It's going towards bigger events.
Yeah.
So when you guys work together at an event, what's the sort of plan? You have some fun together, or
we always have fun. I mean, we always pick people who, if we're doing a massive event, we always pick friends. Like I think there's lots of little niches in there. You guys have got your little niche. We've got ours. And I'm sure there's loads others going on around the country. But with the Magic Place, it's either one, I need people who I can rely on to do a good job, and two, can me and Jamie make money out of them? So they're the two factors.
There's no such thing as 15% at a Magic Place.
No, none at all. Never happened.
Great. I've got some sort of quicker questions.
Yeah.
But they don't have to be quick answers.
Okay.
So if you want to go into a bit more detail with it, then please do. But these are a bit more general, shall we say. So you can explain why as well. The first question: who is your favourite magician that you know?
What, know as a friend?
Yeah.
That's quite a tough one, actually.
You'd have to single out one. I know you've talked about 3 or 4, so...
my favourite... Well, I'd have to say Etienne, to start with. Jamie. Lee. And I'm not saying this because they're my friends.
Is Lee new to the fold, sort of, or has he worked with you guys?
Well, I've known Lee for years and years,
right.
But he's relatively new into Magic Place.
Right.
But he's a brilliant magician. He really is.
Yeah.
A bit odd, but brilliant magician. And does a great job. I mean, we've given loads of jobs to loads of people, and the only ones, with referrals, we always get an email back from Lee. Or from the client going, "Oh, he was great," and we get people call us and say, "Oh, we want to book Lee." We've given so many jobs to so many people, and they don't get rebooked. And that's all down to personality and having a laugh with the client.
Yeah.
One of my favourite magicians is Eric Leblanc in France. He's a phenomenal magician. I mean, his style's completely different to me, but technically wise and skill wise, he's absolutely brilliant. and David Stone. The main ones I know I can think of at the moment.
Favourite magician of all time, or one that really inspired you, or one you enjoy watching?
I'd say David Williamson.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a magician's magician, I think he's a genius, actually. And I would say, I've always loved watching David Copperfield. That's my greatest trick I've ever seen, I think, when he flew. It's not about how it works or anything like that, but that's every kid's dream, isn't it, to fly? I love that. I love that trick when I saw that.
Favourite trick that you perform?
Favourite trick that I perform, probably Extreme Burn.
Yeah? Why?
Yeah. Just because of the impacts of it. I mean, it's my opener. I've got loads of gags with it. It does everything it's supposed to do on the tin. It introduces you to people. It's got jokes in it. It's extremely visual. It's money. It's not it's the most. It's not my favourite trick, but it's a trick that I do every single time and every opener. I guess if I want to talk about something that I really enjoy, it might be cards to pocket routine that I do, or I do an envelope thing in my cabaret that, I sort of come up with. Obviously, there's Paul's Balls, tossed out lottery book test, my trick, available from Prop Dog.
There you go. Bonsall. Try and get him as a sponsor on this at some point.
Yeah. Well, he's just bought all Jerry O'Connell's wallet, so but might have to wait for that.
Wait for a bit.
So high impact, definitely. I'd say Extreme Burn. Then I've got, I learned a muscle pass because I was like working with Etienne a lot, who's extremely skilled. I learned a few things like the clip shift and the muscle pass and things like this purely so I could kind of not compete, but I had something slightly different that Etienne didn't do. And he still doesn't do it. So, I like to learn. I learn some skillful things and some not. I couldn't believe how many people don't do a one-handed top bar. I couldn't believe that. But there's so many magicians who don't do that, and I can't believe why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one, and feel free to go into more detail on this. Best gig you ever did, or series of gigs that you did, and
I think there's a couple. Obviously, Etienne was very kind to give me a couple of Royal Family gigs, which have.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So explain the picture of Prince William that's on your website.
The one with Prince William is from a ball at Sandhurst that he put on with his mate, and I got that through Etienne. And I turned up there. And basically, I turned up and Prince William was waiting for me, and said, "Oh, hello, mate. I just was going to try and call you on your mobile." I was, "Oh, right," and then I met his other mate who was also called William, and we had a sort of walk round, and he was completely normal. Got drunk, had a real laugh with them. I'd done card on ceiling, which was like an 80-foot high ceiling, and took 3 goes, but we got it up there. And I said, I just said at the end of the night, "Oh, do you mind if I have a phone?" He was like, no problem at all. And we took one, and it was crap. And he said, "I'll do it again, And we done it again. I should have really got Kate involved, but I didn't really think about it.
Wow.
And I'm looking a bit young in that photo now. So,
right, okay.
But it's still a great photo, and it's been on my website, and I'm sure it's got me work.
Oh, without a doubt, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at it and go, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah. Well, he's got.
That's not the latest contestant from Big Brother, is it?
No.
That's.
And the one with Prince Charles was again from Etienne, and that was. Etienne gets all the royal gigs. He's the man with that one. And he, this was Prince Charles at Highgrove, party at Highgrove. Went down there, unfortunately, got a photo as well. And so they were great. It's quite funny when you've done a gig for like Prince William and you've kind of been like mates with him all night, and had a laugh and he said, "Oh, can you do something on the Top Guy?" And all his mates are there. They're all in the army, so they're just having a laugh, And then you come home, you're driving home from there, and stopping at the garage and getting a sandwich.
Yeah.
But I think one of the favourite gigs I've done JK's 40th birthday party from Jamiroquai, and that was a great gig. You can imagine that the pop stars who were there. I didn't know half of them, but everyone was there. and it was a massive party which went on for like 4 days, you know, and that was a good laugh. Yeah,
It's one of those ones where you don't mind hanging around a bit longer.
no, I stayed a bit longer there, and I met so many people. I got so much work out of that party.
Did you?
Yeah, there was a lot of event people there, and well, tons of famous people. But you know, we've all done hundreds and hundreds of famous people, and I think the thing with me is I don't really bother them too much. I very rarely ask for a photo. I just have a laugh with them, and then they book you. You know, I mean, I'm always doing parties for proper celebs, not your Big Brother type, you know, or any of that lot. In fact, I wouldn't even go up to them if they were at a party, probably. But I think because I don't bother anyone, you know. I had a lovely party the other day for Richard Attenborough.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a lovely guy, you know, deaf but lovely.
Ah, so
David Attenborough, son, yeah.
The wildlife.
Yeah.
Richard just died, didn't he?
Yeah, David Attenborough, he's lovely.
So flip of that.
Yeah.
And I think this could be fun.
Yeah.
Worst gigs you've done.
Worst gig, bar mitzvahs, obviously. Hate them. Never want to do another one. You can all quote me on that when I'm...
Well, if you do the Sponge Ding Dong, you're certain not to get booked again.
No. I mean...
How do you deal with it when you arrive? Because you're a seasoned pro, so you arrive and you see that it's going to be a bad gig straight away.
I done one the other day, right? And I turned up, and you know, with the booking, he said, "Oh, could you do a trick for everyone?" I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do a quick trick for everyone." Well, that turned into a show. This is what, you know, as the emails went on, you know, near the booking. Oh, could you say what you're going to do 10 minutes? And I said, well, I'm not going to do 10 minutes. I'll do a couple of tricks. And I said, is there somewhere I'll be able to stand? Will everyone be able to see me, etc.? You know, yeah. So I get there. He goes, I've hired you a stage. And it was in a nightclub as well, or an awful bar come nightclub. It was the girls, so whether that's a bat mitzvah or bar mitzvah, I'm never too sure. But, you know, they were young girls. So I'd done this sort of 10-minute thing. I'd done the flying table. And then a
Copperfield influence.
And a couple of other bits, and then I just wandered around. I just have a laugh with them all, you know, kids or adults or whoever. You know, I mean, a nice bar mitzvah you can obviously do as kids as quick as possible and get around the adults, you know, and get rebooked. I just don't. Some bar mitzvahs have been amazing, but on the whole, they're probably the ones I like the least.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I've done one gig where it was I was just booked for a normal party. I put a picture up, it was years ago, and I turned up at this place and it was all like 5-year-old girls sat in on a U-shaped table.
I saw that
years ago. I was like, oh my god! I think I wasn't expecting.
Do you know what? That was what I loved actually, because we didn't know each other very well.
Yeah.
But my Facebook is full of magicians.
Yeah.
Going, look at my gig.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and it drives me mental.
Yeah.
But yeah, you put that one up, and I go, that's the type of magician I like. Guy who puts up the shit gigs, not the good ones.
Well, it's like I know. You know, there's quite a few people who like hate magicians putting up where they are, and I just don't have a problem with it. And I'm like, well, you know what? I put my where I am. I don't think I show off or promote myself. I do say, yeah, I'm here, there, or everywhere, because a lot of my friends actually find it quite interesting, you know. And I've actually been booked by clients who have looked at me on Facebook or Twitter. I don't Twitter much, but to see if I'm actually, you know, the real McCoy. You know, and you've only got to look at my Facebook page and say, oh yeah, he was here, you know, and people are genuinely interested, you know, they find it quite fun. Like my friends, not my magician friends, but my family, my normal friends, you know. So I don't have a problem with that, but I know a few people do, so I'd say, well, unfollow me.
Best magic performance you ever saw live?
Oh.
Something that inspired you. Doesn't have to be a show, maybe a lecture or something like that.
I think my favourite one that I recently was Marco Carvo. Yeah. I mean, that's everything. I mean, he's what I wanted to be when I was a kid. Do you know what I mean? I loved Hans Klok show. But yeah, watching Marco Carvo, and I can't remember, I don't think he was in that. It might have been like the Masters of Magic or something that was on a couple of years ago that I think Paul Stone put on or something. It was in London.
Yeah, the Palladium show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was on that. And he made that. Like,
well, he closed the first off. I was there.
Oh my God. I mean, I stood up, you know, I was like straight out my seat.
Yeah.
And that is what I wanted to be when I was a kid. Yeah.
Brilliant. And that's nice, actually. Best advice you would give if there's a young magician listening to this, wants to get in the game, what would your advice be?
I would say don't listen to too many magicians. There's a lot of weird ones out there. I say find your niche. Don't try to copy everyone. That's the problem with DVDs. You watch a DVD and you're doing the same lines, the same things. I mean, so yeah, just try it. Practice. There's so many guys now who don't practice. I mean, I taught my mate how to do magic. I bought him a few electronic bits and bobs. And he went out working and got away with it. I mean, it's fine, but you do get caught out. But so I'd say practice the essentials, the basics, be good with cards, and have fun with it. But more importantly, be yourself. That is the best advice I could give everyone. Be yourself. I mean, I don't. Everyone sees me as like a sort of a Cockney guy or whatever. I don't want to be a Cockney guy or a bit of a geezer, but unfortunately I am. And I can put on a slightly posher voice when I have to. But that's, I am who I am. And I think because I'm successful in magic, it's because I'm just me.
So nobody gets paid to do the Magicians podcast, so I've agreed to wash the Porsche. So if you fill the bucket up, I'll go and do that now.
That'd be perfect, yeah.
Paul Martin, thanks so much. Really enjoyed it.
It's been a pleasure.
Cheers,
Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much to Paul Martin. A really fun interview there. I enjoyed it and I hope you got something from it too. If you're listening to us on iTunes, please do remember to press the subscribe button. That's the only way we know you're listening to us. The only other way, of course, you can let us know you're listening is to get in touch. My email address is info@richardyoungmagic.com. During the early days of these podcasts, your feedback is, of course, appreciated. If there's something you feel we're missing here, or there's something we should know, please do get in touch and let us know. We want to give you the best podcast we possibly can. If you subscribe to us on iTunes, of course, you'll be alerted when we upload new episodes. We've got some great guests lined up over the next few weeks, and to ensure you don't miss them, the best way to do it is to press the subscribe button. I hope you will join me next week for another episode